Obviously, I'm going to be a bit biased because of my age. I'm 67, got my pension delayed 6 years, which is worth £42,000 to any government, and there's 3 million women been left like me. The Labour Party did say prior to the election that they felt sorry for the WASPI women, people that were born in the 50s that got delayed. Let's not forget what the problem was. The problem was the lack of notification. The government decided to do it but didn't tell the women. For 15 years, and there was no TV back then in Parliament. There was no, they had all our email. Well, they didn't have email then, did they? They didn't have any excuse not to contact us because the Department of Work and Pensions has everybody's address. And it left women high and dry. So let's just put that in a bag. That's like the first clobber, isn't it, to the pensioners. I remember at the time a lot of WASPI women falling out with me who were saying in 2019, vote Labour, they'll stand by the WASPI women. And I said, no, they won't. They don't give a it's about you. They'll let you down. No, I'm not going for that. And I kind of broke away a bit, despite the fact I got 5 newspaper articles published on the topic, several radio interviews, and I did work pretty hard to get public attention drawn to the problem. Anyway, they went down a different route. They managed to get, a judicial review. They were begging for money for another £50,000 to pay to lawyers, even though the lawyers were working kind of in a discounted form. I didn't want to put posts up asking people for money who were already skinned. No thanks, I don't do that. Anyway, so time rolls on. Starmer gets in, completely forgets what he said to the WASPI women. Not only that, one of the first jobs out the starting blocks is the winter fuel allowance, which has even disgusted hardcore Labour supporters, like that twit from Mirror. What's he called? The Geordie boy. Oh, you couldn't say nothing wrong about the Labour Party where he's concerned. Is he called McLeod? Something like that. He used to be on with Tory boy, like 2 separate viewpoints on Sky News, on the papers. Even he couldn't stomach it. I've just found something else out on a Labour page as well. They're all saying, I'm absolutely disgusted with this government. We didn't expect this. Well, I kind of did, but I actually think it's got a plus point, which is it's a bit like a soldier training to go to war, isn't it? He comes into the army green as the hills, can't do any pull-ups, can't do any press-ups. By the time the army's finished with him, he's as fit as a flea, he eats 4 eggs for breakfast, and he's trained to kill. And because he's gone through some gruelling times that have made him tougher. And that's what's going to happen to us. It's just that we've been that soft. We've got young fellas here that's more concerned about having a back crack and a sack wax. I just explained to my husband what that were, and he just went, ew. So no one's had it done in this house, I can assure you. And that bloody idiot was on Twitter yesterday, that Dale Vince. Oh, he said, X is harvesting your data. TikTok's harvesting your data. I said, I don't care if Elon Musk is going down trimming my pubic hair. It makes more sense than you. So obviously my comment got more attention than his flipping tweet. I love being silly. Back to the pensioners. What I can't understand, Keir Starmer has a unique bill passed in Parliament just for his pension, so he doesn't get slapped for tax like the rest of us. And he was going to sort that out. But he's been very busy, hasn't he? Putting all these bills through to clobber us lot. You cannot move forward with a man who treats his pensioners like that. I know there's a lot said from younger people, but they're usually a bit plump. They're usually in media studies, and they've usually had a very easy life, thank you very much. They've been educated till they're in their mid-20s. They've never ever done anything where they've got bills, jobs and kids at an early age like my generation did. Most of my generation had their kids when they were 20, running houses, mortgages, paying rent, responsibility, grown up in a big wide way. And these people look at us like we're some drain on society. How can we be a drain on society? We've paid in 5 decades longer than you, so shut it. We don't want to know what you think about the next generation. You've had a better time than us. You've been on more holidays. You've been on more stag nights. You don't go on a stag night now, do you? Have 4 weeks in the bloody sun. You go away to Mallorca for 3 days. You get taxis in between pubs. If you've got a bit of spare cash, you go and get yourself another bloody tattoo. So you've plenty of spare cash. You're just not spending it on sensible stuff. I know property's gone up in price, but having said that, when we bought our property, when I bought my house, there wasn't even there was one, actually, Chinese restaurant in the whole town of Blackburn. One. The rest were 2 or 3 little takeaways. If I wanted a Chinese restaurant, I had to go to Manchester. We didn't have the choice that young people have, and I know they've got an abundance of it. We didn't have Kentucky Fried Chickens. It was at Preston. We didn't have McDonald's. I was 20 odd before McDonald's hit the high street. So we didn't have all these choices. But what really gets me when people go on about the pensioners, we came from a generation that shut up and put up. We were the greenest generation because we didn't all have cars. We didn't have 2 and 3 cars in one household because little Johnny wants to get to work as well because, he's got 3 days a week works experience, so now he needs a car. We didn't have any of that, and we did our shopping on a daily basis because we bought our food fresh. My mother bought our food fresh. She went out every day and bought milk and butter, and anything we needed was bought fresh. You went to a butcher for meat, you went to a fishmonger for fish, a greengrocer for greens and veggies, and you went to a grocery shop for tin food. A post office was usually nearby, a haberdashery and a newsagent's. And each little area had their own little nucleus of shops. We walked to them. We didn't use cars. No, we didn't. And we walked to school. And it was safe enough to walk to school because we usually went to a school you could walk to. And your brothers and sisters went to the same school because there were plenty of places. You knew your teachers. They lived around where you were. And we had a completely different life, and we have done our very best. We have been the generation of people that have come from the people who built Britain back up after the war. And this is the kind of topic I want to talk to David Starkey about. I want us to get back to just how much we have brought to the table. Not that boomers are costing too much. It's not our fault that the NHS has been so divided up that the NHS, which was brought in by Bevin, actually it was a Conservative Party idea, to be fair. The Labour government just happened to be in power when it was initiated. But it was brought in to give people basic health care that were working down the mines. Enoch Powell was the man who decided to bring in Indian doctors so people could get some direct health care because they studied medicine in English, and that was the big attraction. He had a huge respect for India. He was stationed out there when he was in the army. He was a strategist, a military strategist. He wasn't a racist. He was a clever man, underestimated by bad propaganda, and we know how dangerous that's been. So what you've got to look at is we have a lot to offer, and that's what I want to talk to David Starkey about, and actually I think he's up for that himself. So where pensioners are concerned, we've paid in longer. We came from a generation of people who naturally recycled because they didn't have any other choice. Your brothers and sisters wore hand-me-downs. Your mother knew how to darn a pair of socks. They knitted their own matinee coats for babies. People had parties in the house. They had frugal buffets and seldom had alcohol. We knew how to live. And we've passed that on if you'd only listen. We've got people now who can't cook food because their kids are being brought up at Nando's and, what's it called? I hate it, I don't even go. McDonald's. I don't mind the odd Kentucky though, I do find that a bit tasty. But what I'm trying to say here, we have been hit by this particular government in a horrendous way, and we have to sit there watching him do this when we've got rocketing energy bills that are going up again, and we've got money being sent abroad to the tune of hundreds of billions of pounds with people who aren't up to the job. When American politicians are questioning David Lammy's IQ, wondering if how did he ever get into university? That's what one of them said. And you've the front bench, I mean, they're the best of the best. So imagine what the rest of them are like. Because the true value of the Labour Party is gone. It's ceased to exist. They're not for the working man. They're for the champagne socialist virtue signalling rabble that call themselves the Labour Party now. So hopefully when I do go on with David Starkey, we'll be talking much more about that, and I'll be picking his brains on all sorts of topics. And let's not forget how much pressure is put on Nana these days when they're all sat there talking about how wealthy pensioners are. How many nanas are helping the grandkids buy a house? How many nanas are bailing them out of debt? How many nanas are handing their houses over to the kids to avoid the state being able to get hold of the property and just waste it when you know that it's actually £4,000 a week for one-to-one care and £1,500 a week for social care, when West Streeting says he's going to sort the NHS out. Unless he addresses social care out for the elderly, you can't sort anything out, because there's a phenomenon called bed blocking, and that's where the elderly that have ended up in hospital for one reason or another can't go home to the home for some reason, so they're blocking beds up. Now you've got to sort the social side out. You can't sort the NHS out without addressing the other. And something should be done for it. Why are we thinking it's over expectant to think that it's wrong that someone who's done it right, saved up, forfeited holidays probably to buy a home, to retire and get maybe 8 to 10 years out of their life before one of them's got dementia or had a fall or been widowed, can't manage on their own, get stuffed in a home, and all that they've saved up has to go and pay for it, while a man can sit next to you that's never saved a bean, gambled it away, smoked himself to death, wherever his money's gone, and get it for free. That's an imbalance. There needs to be some middle ground. And the best way to sort this out is recognise that these problems at home should be sorted out before we go giving foreign aid that has to pass through the hands of dictators before it gets spread loaded to the people who need it. There was an average, I think Oxfam did the figures, 22% of donations actually got to the good causes they were going to, because it had all been filtered through with everybody taking the cut. Sickening. And that's why I'm sticking up for pensioners today. Anyway, the thing is, it's going to be a whole new era now with Donald Trump. He's already got 100 executive orders that he's going to stop all this nonsense that's being talked now that we've had to suffer since the last president was in. It's ridiculous. Today, President Joe Biden has actually given Fauci a pardon. His parting gift, no doubt. Anyway, things are looking up. It can only get better. Lawrence has contacted me, Lawrence Fox. He's gone out to America to the inauguration. Mitch Fierstein, he wrote Planet Ponzi. He contacted me today, pictured there with, what's he called, that fellow who used to be mayor of New York? Mayor Giuliani. He started cleaning New York up, didn't he? Very savvy fellow. Very disappointed in this last administration. Anyway, the thing is, let the Americans have their day today. They are buzzing. Katie Hopkins has shown you what it's like. There is an electric atmosphere about Washington. People have said that they've never seen a buzz like this for years. We're going to get that. That's going to come here. It cannot fail.